Hey there, this is Gene, and you might recognize me from Dumbasses Talking Politics, but I'm not doing Dumbasses Talking Politics. I wanted to do something different. I've got to find some new things to do because of this coronavirus thing. And I typically do my political podcast on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Well, that means I record on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, which means I actually need something to do Mondays, Wednesdays, and maybe Friday. It kind of depends. This could be a more mellow show. So, this is going to be not a podcast. This is purely going to be a YouTube show. And I'm hoping it works out. I know it's going to work out for me no matter what, simply because I like this whole thing. We're going to call this conversation, carving and conversation. And basically, I'm going to it's going to be a stream of thought show when it comes and while I'm actually going out and carving. So the first thing we need to do, let me show you what I'm going to be doing. This show started out as a Periscope video, and it just didn't work out because I really wanted to publish it on YouTube, but Periscope, which is Twitter, doesn't really make life easy for you when it comes to publishing. So I decided I'd use Twitter just to show this stuff and forget the Periscope videos. So when I say the title is Conversation and Carving, it is literally carving and talking at the same time. The tools that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to start, and then we're going to start talking. We'll actually go through an introduction. The first thing is my glasses, because I'm dead blind. I can't see. Next, I will have a knife. This is a flex cut knife. It's actually a outdoorsman's knife. I do have flex cut knives that are more fine-tuned for it. These things are exceptionally sharp. They will cut your arm off, but I prefer these knives only because I can go out in the middle of the woods and I can still cut, and I do carve. There are actually two knives. One is a larger knife. I actually don't use this knife that often. And you may notice the blade looks kind of dirty. That's actually, oh, gotta be careful. That's actually not dirt, that's compound. My gosh, I'm going to cut myself before I even start carving. The compound is used to sharpen the knife. I do not use a cutting stone, which actually changes the blade itself. I don't need to do that. I've had this knife for a couple of years, and it's still extremely sharp. All I have to do is run it over a strobe. Eventually, what I'll do, I'll do it now. What the hell? I might as well. This is a strobe, and what a strobe does, and this is the green stuff that you actually see on the blade, what a strobe does, it finely tunes the blade. You just run it across. Now, a lot of people say, well, why don't you get yourself and you notice this green stuff? That is, basically what a strobe is, a piece of wood with leather on it. Okay? And then I put sharpening compound on the leather, and all I do is run it back and forth. Now, what you might be asking is, why don't you get yourself a carving stone? I do have a carving stone. I actually use it for an axe. And the axe I use to cut wood. But the thing with a carving stone is it actually changes the blade, the edge of the blade. And that is not necessarily something I want to do with a knife that I really take care of. And now this is the point of this vlog, is right now I have to run this thing 20 times. And I'm talking to you while I do it. Because a lot of carving is just, it's very monotonous. That should be good. So you can see there's more crap that's on there. That's not rust, that's actually compound. And the compound I would normally try and clean up, but once I actually stick the compound, and you're going to see the compound when I actually start carving, I need to be careful because this thing will go through anything right now. It's very sharp. What I'll be doing is creating little guys. These are going to be 3-inch men. They're going to be pretty simple. Our first one is just going to be a simple guy with a tie on and some pants and some shoes and things like that, and he's going to have a face. And this here is basswood. It's 3 inches long, 1 inch squared there. Very simple. Basswood is this I got from Amazon. There are other woods you can use, but I'm not using them. I actually have, for example, white pine, which I like. One of the characters I created from white pine was this one. I like this one. Little leprechaun. I did this for St. Patrick's Day because we were already quarantined. By the way, I am going on day 28, 27, day 26 of this quarantine, so things are going well. Other little guy examples would be like this guy. This is something that I'm going to do. This is what this guy will look like for the most part at the end. This is not a great little guy. I'm actually I'm experimenting quite a bit. But you can see his face is pretty good. I actually like his face. And by the way, these guys don't look great until they're actually painted. So that's pretty much what we're going to do. He's going to be a little different. He'll have a tie on him or something like that. Pencil. Need a pencil. Ruler. Going to need a ruler in the beginning. And then the important stuff. Gloves. These, especially in the beginning of a carving, are extremely important. They resist slicing, which is most of the damage that you have on your hands. I have scars. I actually have a cut right here. That was recent. There's another scar, big one right there. I have problem moving this finger because I actually cut it completely across, and I don't know if you can see the scar. This is a pretty good camera, but I have scars all over my hands. I do feel them. You don't, the cuts don't necessarily hurt, but they bleed all over the place. And chances are I am going to be bleeding at one point or another. I think I only cut myself maybe once in every 4 or 5 characters. So I don't actually cut myself much anymore. But the point of the gloves is going to be in the beginning. And you may see me put both gloves on. You may see me put one glove on depending on what I'm cutting. I'm not a big fan of the gloves, but they are what they are. Now, the first thing we're going to do is, this is going to be the top of the figure. This is going to be the bottom of the figure. So the feet will be here. The head will be up here. And the first thing I need to do is kind of round some things up. Okay, I need to round this up to make it look like top of a head. So that's what we're going to do. And while we're talking about that, and this time I do wear a glove. On this hand, I will be cutting with this hand. I'll be cutting out. So when I hold and I cut, if I hit this, and you'll see it, I'll tell you every time I hit it, we will go. So my name is Gene, if you don't know this already. And I already have a podcast called dumbassestalkingpolitics.com. As a matter of fact, when you watch the YouTube channel, it will be from the Dumbasses Talking Podcast YouTube channel. So, and I'll sit there and I'll publish this on, I will publish this on Twitter. This thing actually started out as a Periscope cast, which is Twitter. And I like going live with it. I really did. I still might go live with the YouTube cast, but I haven't really researched it enough to know. The problem I had with Periscope, I love the fact that people actually connected to me to watch it. The big problem I had with Periscope is that Periscope doesn't allow you to record. Now, one of the things, you see this piece of tape? That's there because of Periscope. I want to make sure you can see this. One of the things I had to do is I had to buy I have a Galaxy S10 phone, S10 Plus, excuse me. Very big phone, great camera. I decided to use that camera for recording live. And the problem with the camera is because it's an S10 Plus, it's a little bigger than the others, the S10 or the iPhone or anything like that. It is heavy. So I had to actually buy myself a brand new, I have two, I guess they're selfie sticks, but I call them tripods. I have two selfie sticks, both of them way too heavy. So I figured, okay, we're just going to buy another one. So I bought this Mongo Food Tech tripod. It's all aluminum. The last tripod I actually had to go in and tape it to the table. I don't have to tape it to the table. This one to the table. It just sits there. It weighs way more than the camera. So this is a very good tripod. I'm really happy with it. I'm probably going to even go so wild and crazy and rate it on Amazon next time. So this was a good tripod, not the plastic garbage. And the reason I bought the plastic garbage is I didn't think of doing much with it. And when I decided to do this more often, the plastic, it was cheap. It was $9. But every time and it's a great selfie, don't get me wrong, it's a great selfie stick. I actually have it in my bag, so I can have it with me whenever I want it. And I don't do the selfie thing, so I'm too old for that. Oh, so let's go into my general statistics. So I do a podcast called Dumbasses Talking Politics. And I do that because I love politics. I absolutely adore it. I think politics are fun. I think they're funny. I love trolling. I love learning. I love learning about our world. I love learning about our country. If you have not seen Dumbasses Talking Politics, then one of the things you will not know. Sorry, I heard knocking. I want to make sure no one's here. One of the things you will not know, I love the United States. I love the country. I think we're the greatest country in the world. I think we're the greatest country in world history. And I can't stand where our country's going, and I complain about it a lot. I don't think I'm too vicious. I think I'm one person that anyone can talk to about politics, and I will be one of those guys that will listen to you and then destroy you. I have debated for all my life, and of course I debate like a kid. When I started, I sat back and always thought that, you're wrong, I'm right, blah, blah, blah. Then I started listening, and even though someone would come up with an argument I couldn't answer, I would always sit back and fight to the death. And then I grew up, and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to fight to death with this answer. And I started researching and researching and researching. And I not only started doing that, I started researching how to debate. And I learned so freaking much. And we're going to talk about some things. Like, I'm a huge Twitter guy. I love Twitter. I don't like Facebook. Facebook, I think, is got some issues. Definitely with security. I've been hacked more than once, and I think we'll definitely talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about it because one of the books I read about debate is the reason that I'm actually doing this. But we'll get to that. So that's, that about now. You know that. I'm 52 years old. I'm from Los Angeles. I live in San Diego. I came here when I got laid off in Los Angeles. I work as a computer administrator, a couple of different things at a healthcare center. So you can imagine why I'm actually at home. I have 4 kids. One, unfortunately, has passed away, and that's an interesting story. And we'll get to that. So I have 3 living girls, and I have 2 grandkids. I also have a girlfriend. My father is still around. He's a big part of my life. My stepmother is around too. She's a big part of my life. They actually have kept me insane. I am divorced, and that's where they've kept me sane. I'm sorry, did I say insane? I don't know. But I think that's one of the things that really, really helps me. I love my family. We just had Easter. I couldn't see him. We had a virtual Easter. I mean, my dad got dressed. Everyone got dressed up. The grandkids got dressed up. The kids got dressed up. My dad got dressed up. It was really something. It wasn't very long because obviously, it's only so much you can do. But it was really worth it. I have a girlfriend. Love her to death. Her name's Josie. I only say that. I won't give you the last names because I don't want you guys hunting her down. We've been together for about 4 years. She has 2 kids. She has 3 kids, plus a grandkid. So, needless to say, we both are extremely busy. What some of the things I like to do, I like to read, I like to write, and I like to run. I read probably a book every couple of weeks. I don't read all the time because I also like other things like movies, carving. I like exercising. So I like music. So I like listening to that stuff, not just reading. But I do read and I do love it, and it puts me to sleep. Okay. Here we go. Now what we've done is we've created kind of the head, right? This is kind of the bald. Imagine this guy's going to be bald. He's not going to be bald. He's actually going to have hair. Doesn't look like much now, but that's okay. The next thing we're going to work on, and by the way, I do actually refer to a book on this, not because I don't remember, because I don't want to screw up the carving. That's going to be kind of important, and we're going to talk about that right now, is why am I doing this? Okay, why am I doing this? All right, first thing we're going to do, we are actually going to go in and give this guy some legs. So when we do this, we're going to give him feet. And his feet are going to be, I don't even know how big this is going to be here. I think these are going to be, what, 1/2 inch? Oh, they're not a hat. It's about 3/8 of an inch. It's not too big. A lot of people a lot of the times when you watch videos of this stuff, they say, oh, you should give a 1/2 inch to a 2.5 inch character. This is going to be a 3-inch tall character, and I'm sorry, I disagree. I think that's just really hard to work with feet. And you'll see why when we start carving feet. Now, one of the things, so there are going to be the feet. Now, let's pick a front and a back. And by the way, let's do this. Let's put a U here. That means this character is for you, and I will not work on it unless I'm on camera. Let's pick a front. And the reason this takes a bit, I want to make sure that everything is really even. See, that's not really even, because rounding the head is kind of hard. And now understand, these are caricatures. I'm not making them. There it is. That's our front. So I'm going to give this to be the front. Okay, this is going to be the back. I'm not worried about the back. And matter of fact, I'm going to do this right now. Now, the reason I'm doing this, I'm actually rounding off. This is going to be the back of the shoulders. Okay. The reason I'm doing this is not because it's required. See these edges? They're really sharp. I don't like wearing gloves. So I want to be able to hold this comfortably. These edges really hurt the palm. So I like to clean them off, use very slight strokes. And basically just round them off. I don't even have to go all the way down yet. That's not important. So So when we're dealing with a foot, when we're dealing with legs, I determine the belly is going to be around here. And then the legs will come down, the front of the leg will come down to about halfway, about right here. Now halfway, this is important, we're going to have to know anyway, so let's do this. Yeah, so it's a little less than halfway, that's fine. Now, that's going to be the stomach. This will be the stomach, right? And the stomach will go, because I like to give my guy, his head will be like right about here. We're not going to worry too much about that. So this will be the front of his leg. This will be his stomach. Now, the back of the leg, I like to create the little chicken stance. So here will be his butt, and it will come all the way down here. So you see that? There's his butt. All that stuff's going to be rounded. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut his front leg and then his back leg. This is kind of difficult to do. I'm learning. One of the things you have to do when you do this is you have to be careful not to cut the foot off. One of the reasons a lot of people like to use the 1/2 inch thing is because it's harder to cut the feet off. I don't care about cutting feet off. I'm just going to be gentle and make sure the feet is. So you notice I didn't write it on this side because I'm just going to allow this side to be my guide. Now the cut I'm using is something called a stop cut. So I'm going to sit back, just put a cut in there up until where the foot should end, and then lead my cut into that stop cut, and what will happen is that cut will actually break off that piece. There we go. Okay, there we got a little hair, that's okay. Right now, we've just created our template on this side. This is perfect. Okay, now what we do is, see this? We just follow along from the top here, and I'll actually mark this. I should mark it with pencil, it just makes it easier. And we will cut until this all matches. So why do I do this? Well, I started carving a while ago. And the reason I started carving is because my son died of drug issues. To this day, no one's really sure how he died. There are a lot of theories on it. I prefer to stop chasing those theories because it really doesn't help anything. And my kid, the ones who convinced me were my kids. And already I'm talking way more about his passing than I want. But I needed something that would actually keep me moderately sane. And I've always wanted a hobby where I could be good with it, but not great. Something that I don't have to be a master. For example, I used to like to play guitar. The problem with playing guitar is you actually have to be kind of good at it to enjoy it. And I just never got into it. I really never got into it. So I didn't bother with it. So I started doing this. I saw it. I liked it. And basically with Josie, I used to go camping. I thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool just to be able to carve something really cool while I'm on a camping trip? Just grab some wood See there, the legs coming? Grab some wood and be able to sit back and carve a bear like this, or carve an owl like that. Well, guess what? That's what I decided to do. I bought a cheap knife to see if I would like it. The knife was, I liked it. I liked doing it, but the knife was a cheap knife. Literally a $20 knife. And I realized, hey, I kind of like this. This is kind of fun. And I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. I would follow YouTube videos and just follow the directions on the YouTube videos. And the reason I decided to stick with this is because I liked it so much. Let's make sure. See their feet? Let's take a look at where this is. Oh my God, he's concentrating. He's not talking. I'm pretty exact in nature. That looks good. Let's see how close it is to that line. Just a little bit more. So I began to be satisfied with the projects I'd been working on, and I decided, you know something? I want to keep doing it, and I want to create people. I want to learn faces. I actually want to be pretty decent at this. And it's just really relaxing. It's relaxing enough to the point that I can sit back and talk to you about all sorts of garbage, basically teach you what I'm doing. Now, see, there you are. It's going to be a stomach. It's not rounded. There walks right into his feet. Now we're going to go back and we're going to do the same thing. But here we're going to create a butt. This is going to be a butt, and this will go straight to the bottom. Now this is a little tougher because you actually have to go in and cut a little bit. You have to basically form the figure first. And it's not hard. It's just, there we go. Now we got that. Now we take it from the bottom and go up, and that will be the back of his leg. And now we just go down and up all the way across. I'm pretty sure the book that I'm using does not teach that, but you know what? It works for me, and my characters have looked really good. So my son died 2 years ago, and so I've been doing this for about 2 years. I mean, literally, I have sat back and started this and have been working ever since on it. There we go. Okay. Now, you notice why I wear the glove? Because this knife slips, it's going to hit this finger. You know how I know that? Because this knife has slipped and hit my finger. There we go. Of course, the back of the... I don't know why I fear the back. I used to be the worst when it came to legs and feet. Now I'm very comfortable. It's arms that drive me crazy. We're not getting to arms today. I doubt it. We're just going to do this as an introduction. Maybe we'll get to some arms. Face is always going to be last, because faces are a bear. And I got news for you. I'm probably going to teach you... I'm going to show you how I practice faces, because I practice faces daily. So, see? There you go. Legs, stomach, stomach, butt. They look even on both sides. Right now, what I can do is, if I wanted to, I could go in and soften this side here. And there we go. Good to go. Now, I'm going to take a look. I'm going to take a look at my book. I think I know what comes next. But I want to make absolutely sure, and I would have been wrong, so I'm glad I paid attention. So that's where and by the way, this makes a mess. I am doing this inside. I'm going to have to clean. If Josie comes over and sees that this mess all over the place, she will say something, and it really gets embarrassing, and I feel bad, and I made a really nice place now. Since this whole coronavirus thing. So, and we're going to talk about coronavirus, believe me you. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we are going to shape the body. Don't forget to put your glasses on. So, we've got 1 inch, so it's not that tough. And right in the middle of the body, I'm going to mark this. Right in the middle of the body, if I can find my pencil. We're just going to mark it. Don't need to worry about the back here. We just need to worry about the front. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to form the body. And we're going to join this cut. We're basically going to take out this entire corner here. Okay? This is kind of funky on both sides, so it kind of looks squared. Once we do that, we'll create the head, and then we'll call it for the night. So that's why I'm doing this. I started on Periscope, didn't work out, and I wanted to do a vlog show. I just didn't know how to do it. And then I read Scott Adams' book, a great book, and I like Scott Adams. If you don't know who Scott Adams is, he's the guy who does the Dilbert cartoons. For some reason, he's been pretty much blackballed from this stuff. And if you're a political guy, oh, screwed up. I screwed up. Well, okay. What I should have done is I should have separated the body by ½ an inch. I messed it up. Can we recover? Well, we're going to recover because this... Yeah, we're going to... That's bad. So that's where talking is not the greatest thing. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Guys, now you've seen, we are now going to figure stuff out. So maybe we can... I think we can save this guy. I don't think he's done. Yes, I really messed up. Yes, I really messed up. But you know what? That's the beauty of carving. If I mess up, okay, we'll move on. Let's just go on. I think we can save this guy. So let's just take a chance and figure it out. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. The reality is the head is going to be carved like that. So I'm not, that's why I'm wondering if this is something I can fix. I tell you what, I'm gonna fix it. So anyway, Scott Adams. Scott Adams is the creator of the Dilbert cartoons, great cartoons. And I saw him interviewed on, I can't remember where it was interviewed. And I read a book called Win Bigly. It was his, not his last book, but it was one of his books. Okay. I think we'll be fine with this. I think we'll be okay. It's not great. I'm really not happy about it. I really need to pay attention, but that's okay. This is the first time. And if I screw it up, we start over again because, so yeah, we'll be okay. See, one of the things, oh, Jesus. One of the things to understand when carving is that the carving is constantly going to change. It's going to morph. Now, the good news is what I did do was actually set up the head. So this is not great for the body, but for the head, it's phenomenal. That's a good thing. So we're going to work with it. We're going to work with it. We'll see. Well, if it doesn't work, we'll figure out why it didn't work. So Scott Adams released a second book called Loser Think. And what Loser Think is, Scott Adams is a big Twitter guy. He actually has live podcasts. And he said, you know something? Don't be afraid to fail. This was one of his areas in Loser Think. And I might actually have a podcast on that. And one of the things I can't stand is I'm afraid to look stupid when I do some of this stuff. Okay, yes, the glove is off. I need to smooth this out. That's not a good thing. But we're going to be carving a head next. So I need to make sure that this is pretty good, and it does look okay. So he said, when he did his first vlog on Periscope, he said, I didn't know what I was doing. It was terrible. And for me, it was the same thing on Periscope. It was terrible because I didn't have the right, tripod, so my camera kept falling, and people were watching it. I'm sure I looked absolutely terrible. But you know something? I decided, okay, I'm going to keep doing it. Pretty much everything he described in his book is exactly what happened to me. So I decided, you know something? I can do this. I can do a vlog. And if I make a mistake like I just did, deal with it. Move on. Now you may have seen me draw a circle around the head. Guess what that's going to be? The head. Now this is going to be called an over-under stop cut. So I'm going to go create the stop cut right there. I'm going to go under and over. And the reason I do that is because it kind of rounds it off. And I'm going to do that all the way around that line. Under, over. So I said, screw it. Why am I going to do this when I absolutely suck at carving? Let's do the vlog while I suck at carving. And then you can see how much better I get. And then maybe you'll be interested in going through learning how to do something like this. I think that would be awesome. And I think one of the things I'm going to do is with my dad too. I think I'm going to tell him, Dad, let's get you on YouTube. Let's get you to do this. And because he paints, he doesn't carve. He paints. And he was a dentist. So one of the things he really understands is, as a dentist, he used to make, dentures and things like that. And he would sit there and say, well, to round your head, do this, do that, do that, do that. Okay, it makes sense. Why? Because he had the experience in that. I don't. And so that's kind of really neat. And by the way, I'm going to show you some of the exercises I do. And there's actually some great podcasts out there. Maybe I'll stick them in the notes. So if you're interested, if anyone's interested, leave a comment and I will leave notes in this. Look at that. Now we have feet. We have feet. We have a butt. We have a stomach. We have legs. And now we have a head. Doesn't look like much. It does not look like much. I got it. That's okay. And even though it's not 100% perfect, the reality is it's not bad either. I can definitely fix this. So let's do one more thing. Let's see, how long have we been going here? We've been going for 37 minutes. I think we're gonna call it. I think I don't want to do too much. Here's the thing. When I'm dealing with these videos, I really want to keep them short. I want to keep them 30, 35 minutes. The thing is, when I start carving, I really can do this all day. I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do something like this, is to sit back and see if anyone likes this first off. But I wanted to spend lots of time. Sometimes I just get tired of carving and I just want to stop and the things like that. And I have 2 more characters that I have not finished, which I can work on. This one is, look at the butt on this guy. It is perfect. Look at the front. The arms are great. Look at this guy. This guy, he's kind of off. The butt is crappy. I just learned how to do that. My arms are getting better, but they're not quite there. The feet here are pretty good. His head's too big. We're going to have to change that. But these I can work on my own. And then I have another stick here, which is going to be for faces. Let me show you my faces. These 6-inch 1x1 are for creating faces. Faces are extremely tough. I've got about 4 or 5 bars that I'm going to completely fill up with practice faces. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I use these bars for something else. But I'm probably going to do about 3 bars of this. And each bar is made up of 2 sets of faces. Each one of these areas, if you take a look, each one of these areas, 3 down, 4, 5, 6, is a different step in creating a face. And each face takes up to 12 steps. So I've created one 12-step portion of this bar, turned it over, made another 12-step portion of this bar. So I've got 2 practice rounds in each stick. I have 3 more sticks, and I'm going to keep practicing. And by the way, I don't have 3. I've got like 50. But I also use these sticks. I cut these sticks down in halves to create the blanks for the little guys. So you can tell we can do this. You can tell I do quite a bit of this. I don't do as much as you think because I do the podcast. I am also writing a book. I also watching movies is not a big deal, but I do a lot of things outside of this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're interested, you can listen to my podcast. It is political. I don't think it's hugely controversial, but it might be. So it's Dumbasses Talking Politics, and it can be found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podcast Addict, and YouTube. If you're on this channel, you can actually see it. I really enjoyed this, and I think I'm going to enjoy this better than Periscope because I can screw up and make changes and upload, and it's there forever. So you guys take care. You've listened to Carving and Conversation.